Hello everybody, I have the best layout for you tonight. We're going to be using these 4 photos and I'm going to be working with Mintay's Garage Kit. I'm going to start by grabbing the chipboard sheet that I bought. Here is the chipboard sheet. Now, Mintay chipboard is not what I would call chipboard at all. It's kind of like a wood veneer. So it's not thick. It doesn't have layers and layers of cardboard behind it. It doesn't smell. It's, much more like wood veneer. And I love it. So I am going to take some of these icons from the 12 by 12 chipboard sheet and I'm going to heat emboss them all using some of my favorite heat embossing powder. Today's layout is based upon sketch number 5 in Allison Davis's sketchbook, Scrapbooking with Squares, the one-page sketches. And I will link that book up in the description box because it's fabulous. I have been absolutely loving the scrapbook pages that I have been designing using these sketches. I am 100% going to switch up the sketch. I always do. I always make it my own. So I really recommend grabbing the book because it is pretty easy to follow, beautiful sketches, and then you can see how what the original sketch looked like versus what I do with it. So I'm going to start with this cutting, all the cutting. So I have a piece of 12 by 12 coconut swirl cardstock. I have an 8.5 by 8.5 square of like a gray color. And now I'm going to cut a mess of 2 by 2 squares and I'm going to make myself a little cheater so that all of my squares are squares and they are all the same size squares, so they will line up perfectly as I go ahead and create my layout. Once I have all of my squares cut and ready to go, I'm going to start making my grid. So I have 4 squares across and then I'm going to mat and add my photo. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my T-square ruler to continue to add my 2 by 2 inch squares. Next, I am going to add my 3 additional photos. I used the Pick Frame app to be able to print my photos a little bit smaller than 2 by 2, which means when I put them onto my page, they have a nice matted edge around them. Next, I'm going to go ahead and center this square panel onto my white cardstock. And then I can go ahead and start to add my heat embossed elements. So I love how these turned out because I used my favorite Emerald Creek embossing powders. They aren't smooth, so they've got some texture, they've got some distressing, they've got some roughness, which is one of the things I love about Emerald Creek embossing powders. They aren't your typical embossing powders. They have some texture, they have a lot of different kind of colors that meld together. I absolutely love all of their different kinds of metallic embossing powders. I just lost my word. And they have these amazing like baked texture embossing powders. So I used a baked texture on the car, the little screwdrivers and wrenches are polished silver or wrought iron, which again dries to like this like bumpy textured finish. So cute. So I am just putting down these pieces using some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because I know it'll hold them nice and steady and exactly where I want them on my layout. I will link up as many of the products that I use today that I can find in the description box. Just know that Emerald Creek embossing powders are from Canada, so the shipping might be a little high. I was on their design team for quite a while. I loved being on that design team. And I still have lots and lots of their embossing powders here to play with. Once I have all of the embossed pieces adhered to my layout, I'm going to let them sit and completely cure and completely dry. And then I'm going to come back and create my title. For my title, I'm going to do a stamped title. I have my favorite Brutus Monroe Detail Black ink, and I am using this stamp set, which is an older one from the Paper Person, and it's probably not available. In fact, I know it's not available anymore. I have found that most of the time when I purchase an alphabet stamp, after I use it 2 or 3 times, then it becomes not available anymore. I'm sorry. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and stamp my title. I'm going to stamp the year 2022 across the top, and across the bottom, I'm going to stamp Fall Car Show. Next, I'm going to grab my black pen, and I'm just going to do a nice doodly outlined border, giving a little bit of an edge, but mostly this is just for the kind of artsy, fun look of it. Love how this turned out. Also, as an aside, this layout got a big grin and a 2 big thumbs up from Logan, so I'm happy with it. I am going to use 2 canvas flare from Scrap and Happy Studios. This is from Jenny's most recent release. I love her canvas flare. I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. But this set, and specifically these 2 flare, were so perfect to go with this collection. And I am so happy to have these sets to play with. I am on Jenny's design team, but I will leave a link to her shop in the description box below. And you should try some of her flare. It's so good. For some last little bit of embellishment, I'm going to go through the ephemera pack, and I'm going to grab a couple things that fit. So I'm looking for some of the lighter colored elements. I love this collection, but if you watched my haul, I did mention that I did feel like it was very dark. Well, this sketch and having the light metallic and the black background, I think that I have solved that problem. This layout looks fabulous. I really, really love how it turned out. My last little bit of confetti for this layout is going to be some black splatter. So I'm taking my favorite black spray ink, and I'm going to add a splatter just in the upper left and bottom right hand corners. And then I am calling this layout done. Thank you so much for joining me today for my latest project. And guess what? We have made it halfway through the week. Yay! So I hope that this has given you a little bit of a creative push. I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will see you back here on my channel Friday.